Good evening and welcome to Newswatch on Hope TV, the station where you look and live. On today's conundrum, we will be taking a look at the Kenya Kwanza government manifesto. Is it a case of broken promises so far? We will be looking into some of President Ruto's promises, pitfalls, and the plight of the people. I'm Tess Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. First, let us take a look at the day's news. President William Ruto has responded to criticism from the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops a day after the bishops raised concern of over-taxation of Kenyans and the government's failure to fulfill key campaign promises. The president, who today attended the inaugural graduation ceremony at Tangaza University, an institution owned by the Catholic Church, asked the clergy to be factual in their statements. Alice Diana tells us more.
The government, led by President William Ruto, has taken offense at the criticism served by Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops. The Catholic clerics had on Thursday called out what they presumed were ills in the current regime. Led by their chair, Archbishop Maurice Muhatia of Kisumu, the bishops accused the political class of abetting corruption and turning a deaf ear to key concerns raised by Kenyans, including overtaxation, unemployment, disturbing gaps in the implementation of the CBC education system, and the transition from NHIF to the Social Health Authority (SHA). The remarks by the Catholic bishops sparked massive reactions from government officials and leaders affiliated with the regime, who have moved with speed to downplay the criticism, with President William Ruto being the latest to fire back at the clergy. While addressing graduates of Tangaza University on Friday, the president urged religious leaders to be careful and not to spread falsehood and misinformation.
And even as we engage in public discourse on matters that are important to the people of Kenya, we must be careful to be factual, lest we become victims of the things we accuse others of doing. I know you know what I mean.
Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Bigos and his health counterpart Deborah Baraza issued separate statements on Thursday to clarify the clerics' claims. In his response, CS Migos denied the bishop's claims that the country's education sector is in crisis and on the verge of collapse. CS Baraza, on her part, refuted claims by the bishops that the government's signature public health insurance chief is in tatters because faith-based organizations are owed billions, terming the allegations misleading, erroneous, and false, stressing the government's commitment to addressing outstanding debts from the defunct NHIF. National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and his Senate counterpart Aaron Cheruiyot also hit back at Catholic bishops for labeling elected leaders as corrupt and challenged the clerics to submit evidence against them to investigative agencies. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Appreciated Alice Diana for that report. Now, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has defended the government following criticism by the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops regarding various issues affecting the nation. Addressing the media today, Mwaura affirmed the government's commitment to transparency, accountability, and the welfare of all citizens, adding that the reforms are working. He added that the realization of universal health coverage through the shift to SHIF will permanently transform access to provision of healthcare for Kenyans.
Maaskofu wamesema kwamba kumekuwa na ukiukaji wa haki za kibinadamu, kwamba watu wamekuwa wakitekwa nyara na wengine wanakufa kama akina mama zetu. Swala zima ambalo ningependa kusema ni kwamba tayari takwimu za kiserikali zinaonyesha wakati kumekuwa na vurumai na vurugu, wakati watu walikuwa wanakataa ile finance bill, zaidi ya maafisa wa polisi 495 waliweza kujeruhiwa, na wale ambao walijeruhiwa rasmi kama raia ama wa Kenya ni 347. Na tunasikitika kusema kwamba Wakenya 42 walipoteza maisha yao, na hii ndio takwimu rasmi, sio vile ambavyo tumesikia hapo awali. Na IPOA ipo katika mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba kama kuna askari yeyote ambaye amekiuka sheria anachukuliwa hatua. Na ikikuja kwa mambo ya kina mama, sisi ndio serikali tumesema kwamba chini ya siku 90 ama miezi mitatu kipenda, zaidi ya kina mama 90 wameweza kuagama wasi. Na jambo hili tumelifuatilizia na kuhakikisha kwamba tumechukua hatua, na wale wote ambao wanahusika, wengine wamewekwa ndani, wengine wanaendelea kusakwa, ndiposa tuhakikishe kwamba maisha ya wanawake wetu, wasichana wetu ipo salama.
Wiper Party leader Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka has called on livestock farmers to reject any attempt by the government to have their cattle vaccinated. Speaking in the company of the People's Loyal Opposition member, Kalonzo has criticized a proposal by the Kenya Kwanza government to have over 20 million cattle in the country vaccinated, terming it as a sinister foreign agenda seeking to eradicate animal production in Kenya. Musyoka said the vaccination will, in the long run, give way for industrial-generated food that is not healthy for human consumption.
We ask our fellow Kenyans to join us in opposing the proposed vaccinations, which clearly hurt our animals and endanger our people. We have also been reliably informed on incontrovertible scientific authority that these vaccines will alter the genetic structure of our animals. After 1 or 2 generations of vaccines, up to 36 months, reproduction of new life will begin to be plagued by issues. These issues include, but are not limited to, the birth of animals with severe biological malformations as a result of genetic manipulation. There will also be the difficulty of the animal's incapacity to reproduce completely. Some of these negative side effects will eventually be passed to human populations via the eating of contaminated animal farm produce. Do not allow any agent or official of the Ruto regime to come anywhere near Kenyan cattle with these vaccines. There will be no forced vaccination of animals in Kenya. We all remember stories of anthrax. If you're coming to vaccinate against anthrax and know the things we all know.
Democratic Alliance Party of Kenya DAPK leader Eugene Wamalwa and Jubilee Party Secretary Jeremiah Kioni have joined the growing number of leaders coming to the defense of Catholic bishops after they issued a statement on Thursday criticizing the Kenya Kwanza government. Addressing the press earlier in the day, the two leaders termed the attack on the bishops as uncalled for. Their sentiments came barely hours after a section of leaders allied to President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza camp rubbished the press statement by the Catholic bishops, alleging the government has failed to fulfill its promises to Kenyans.
We stand by the church, we stand by the truth. And we want to tell our colleagues in government that what the bishops have said is what the Gen Zs said, is what the millennials said, is what the opposition is saying, is what the international community is saying. Stop the abductions, stop the corruption. So name calling or trying to intimidate the bishops will not change the truth. Address the issues, stop the insolence, stop the intolerance.
More than 11 of his UDA people have had an attack on the Catholic bishops. Like it has been mentioned here, the targeted bishop is Archbishop Muheria. And it is important to know that Muheria did not even lead the statement. It was led by other bishops. Kipungetish was one of them. He is not the chair of the bishops. But that profiling and saying that that was a tribal statement is a profiling that is in keeping with the Ruto regime.
Well, on that note, let us take our first break, or rather a break here on Newswatch. We have plenty more coming up, including snippets of the Christ is the Answer Ministries Women of Impact Conference. Highlights of the day. Stay tuned.
Join Pastor Martin Kiki this Sunday for a live moment of worship. On Ultimate Worship from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and repeat from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Hope TV, look and live.
The name of Jesus, higher than other name. King of all kings, no other name like these.
Coming soon.
This November,
he's the God who raised up Moses in a palace only to use him in the wilderness, and raised up Joseph in the wilderness only to use him in a palace.
Young person, God is at work within your heart. What does it say? He is at work. It's him who is at work in you.
If you are going to be successful in the service of God, it calls for sacrifice.
We get to appraise what God is doing, and by his invitation, partner with him.
Come on, keep moving. He's inspiring you to challenge that which seems impossible.
What he would require of us is to declare, send me Lord, regardless of our background.
Only on Hope TV.
Thank you for choosing Hope TV, the channel that brings you hope, entertainment, and inspiration. We value you and would like to serve you better. Talk to us by scanning this QR code on your screen, or go to our social media page at Hope TV Kenya and click on the survey link by the name Hope TV Survey. It will just take a few minutes but means the world to us. We value your feedback. Hope TV, look and live.
Going back to the heart of worship.
Whether up the mountain or down the valley, we were created to worship God.
Enjoy carefully selected worship music every Wednesday all day long.
Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Miracles happen when you know. We take it a notch higher with more worship music.
Every Wednesday
is Worship Wednesday.
Only on Hope FM. Listen and live.
Welcome back. Now, Christ is the Answer Ministries CITAM Women Ministry has convened a 2-day conference themed A Woman of Impact at CITAM Karen. The meeting of Christian women from all denominations is seeking to help women find their place in creating impact wherever they are. And as our reporter Dolly Murigi Mbuvi now tells us, those who attended the event have expressed excitement and expectations of the one-of-a-kind event.
Women from all walks of life have gathered today for a 2-day conference organized by Christ is the Answer Ministry CITAM Women Ministry.
We were challenged to go out there and take territories and not be the territories.
The conference themed A Woman of Impact is derived from Romans 15 verse 20. It is one of a kind meeting of Christian women. The meeting is seeking to help women find their place in creating impact wherever they are.
It looks like people really heeded the call. They were excited to come to this conference. We actually expected about 3,000 women today, and to hear that we are more than 5,000, we give God all the glory. We thank God, and we just pray that no woman who comes here we remain the same. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. Anybody who comes here will tell you you're missing half your life if you don't come. And tomorrow will be the climax. And even tonight, actually, will be the climax. We will be impacted and we will be commissioned to go out and make an impact. I invite everybody to come.
Various impactful speakers have been lined up for plenary sessions and workshops to discuss a wide range of topics of interest to the women.
Yes, godliness will tell them it is true.
According to the organizers of the conference, through the event, women will gain important training as well as interact with their peers.
I really enjoyed the two speakers we had this morning. One was Reverend Wairimo, who gave an exposition on the book of Esther and challenged us to be able to know who we are and to be able to take our place. The other one was Reverend Linda Adolo Achola. And again, once again, this woman has told us that, yes, we need to pray, but it is time for us to step out and make our impact. And in the current society. So I have been so blessed by that. And of course, I cannot forget the cross-generation panel discussion, wow, where we discussed with how we can be able to bridge the gaps between the different generations and to be able to bridge those gaps so that we can model and mentor one another.
The event's director, Kagendo Kitutu, has stressed the focus of the conference being that women encounter God aside from connecting with each other.
We believed God that he would send women to come and encounter God and be impacted to be able to change their world. And we have seen that because women have come in numbers. They have surprised us, but we know it is God's doing.
Some of the ladies who attended day one of the event have shared some of the insight gained during the conference, while saying that it gives them the opportunity to take new territories as derived from this year's sit-and theme.
I want to be a woman of impact in my life. I want to make things work, change, and even interact with the generations that I live with in a positive way.
My take home today is one woman can change a destiny. One person can change a situation. So we must be students of the word. We are to read the word, but we also are to be women of impact in our own areas and our own spheres of life.
As a woman, I'm being reminded to take initiative, to always look out for solutions and be a woman of impact. I can't wait for what's ahead.
So regardless of my title, of my name, I am capable and able to be the change maker that the society needs. So I am very, very empowered. I'm still going to this afternoon session and I'll be here tomorrow to add more to this knowledge. And yes, there was that conversation about generations and understanding each other. I can't wait to put it into action.
And just the fact that women came together to pray and to grow, there's going to be a lot of change in this city and all over the nation.
The two-day conference is expected to conclude tomorrow with a commissioning service.
If you're out there and you're thinking, should I come, should I not come? I want to tell you, please make sure you come, because tomorrow we will be commissioned to go out and change the world, to go and make impact, to go and be light and salt of the world. It will be a commissioning service. There will be a time for interaction with one another, for networking, for even just hearing God's word. What is God telling you to go and do?
Dolly Muriki for Hope TV.
Much appreciated, Dolly Murigi, for that report, even as that conference continues tomorrow. Residents of Nyandarua County have expressed mixed reactions over the intended impeachment of Governor Kiarie Badilisha, a motion that is in the works by Mirangine MCA Samuel Mathu. In the motion, the MCA has accused the governor of alleged gross violation of the Constitution. He says the governor has interfered with the recruitment and deployment of county staff against the law. However, the residents claim that such a move would derail meaningful development and that its timing was also wrong, as it comes just a few days after former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua immediate impeachment.
Na hii mambo yenye nasikia kuhusu Badilisha impeachment, nimekataa. Tuache tuishi na amani venye tuko, kazi ziendelee kufanywa, aendelee na kazi zake. Si wenyewe tumeridhika na hatutaki shida.
Hapa Nyandarua tuko na shida, na shida ambayo tunaona tuko nayo ni ambayo
MCA wa kutoka Mirangine anasema ataleta impeachment against governor wetu Kiari Badilisha, mtu ambaye tunamuunga mkono kwa dhati, mtu ambaye tunampenda, mtu ambaye analeta maendeleo katikati yetu na katika jamii yetu. Tungependelea kuuliza huyu MCA, hii maneno ambayo unaleta, ambayo tukifuatilia tunaona hayana ukweli, tunakuuliza tafadhali komesha hiyo maneno. Nyandarua imekuwa na vita wakati wa governor Kimemia, miaka 5 hakuna kazi ilifanywa. Sasa wakati huu ambao tuko na Kiari Badilisha, mzee mwenye kupenda amani, ambaye anaelewana na MCA wote, anaelewana na speaker, anaelewana na serikali mzima, tunataka kukuuliza MCA Madhu, koma hiyo maneno, wachana na hiyo maneno.
Ni watu wa Nyandarua wapatiwe nafasi ili Nyandarua wafanywe kazi na gavana waliyechagua Bwana Kiari Moses Badilisha, na tunajua imeonekana ni wakati watu wetu wameanza kutumiwa kumaliza wale wengine. Hata kama hujatosheka na ile gavana anafanya, kuna njia ya kufanya. Na tunaona gavana wa Kericho aliokolewa na watu yao, na alikuwa anaambiwa mambo mengi na magumu kuliko hiyo inatafutiwa ya gavana wa Nyandarua. Na ile Nyandarua inaendelea, tumekuwa na amani, na hiyo amani ndio tunaomba na iendelee na hakuna vita.
Tukienda huko tunaambiwa hakuna pesa, sijui nini, hatutaki. Sisi tumesharidhika na Badi. Sisi ndio tulimpea kura, tuliamka asubuhi tukampea kura, na tukukua tunasema tutakuja siku moja kumtoa. Badi aacho afanye kazi yake. Mimi nimesimamilia kina mama, nimesema Badi muachane na yeye. Kama utaki Badi afanye kazi, gojea after 5 years urudi ukuje useme unataka hiyo kitu, tutakupea.
Across our borders, residents of a neighborhood in the Haitian capital recently attacked by gangs have fled from their homes, some saying there is no clarity for them on where to find a safe place. Solino in the capital, Port-au-Prince, is one of the areas that previously had not been taken over by gangs. Violence exploded in the capital after Haiti fired and replaced its interim prime minister amidst political infighting and corruption allegations against members of a transitional council created to restore democratic order to Haiti. The Caribbean nation hasn't held an election since 2016, largely because of the gang violence. Gangs often seize on moments of political chaos to make power grabs like the one seen in Solino in recent days. This as some of Kenyan troops remain in Haiti as part of a broader international response to the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Haiti. Business Safaricom hosted an engagement dinner forum to celebrate its dealers in the Rift Valley region for bringing Safaricom's products and services closer to customers over the years. The dinner event that was held in Eldoret as part of Safaricom's ongoing Sambaza Furaha campaign honored the company's dealers and M-Pesa agents in the region for their significant contributions to transforming lives over the past 24 years. The event brought together more than 60 dealers from across the Rift Valley who shared their journeys, experiences, and achievements from their long-standing collaboration with Safaricom.
My name is Ashish Shah. My dealership is Happy Go Limited. We are Safaricom dealers from the initials when Safaricom started. And somehow it is the same time my son was born. So it's a journey, 24 years, my son is 24 years. And we are just like my other son, we have had happy times with Safaricom, innovative company, because we started with scratch cards. The first time in Nakuru, when we started, nobody wanted to get scratch cards. So we went and gave Christian Wood and say, sell this thing, right? If they don't sell, we'll take it back. You won't believe it. The next day we went, it was sold. So that's how we started. We gave people a lot of confidence on Safaricom that it can grow. So we gave everybody scratch cards, all right? And that way we started the business and started growing. And 2003 we got the full dealership. So now we could put the phones and everything. So we did we had a lot of awards from Safaricom, which we won. And basically, as I said, that it was transforming our lives.
And in sports, Football Kenya Federation FKF elections of new officials in Nyandarua County have been pushed to Saturday by the FKF Election Board. This is after candidates contesting for the chairmanship and executive secretary positions tied during the elections held at the All Kalau NGCDF Hall. Ruben Kai from Daragwa Sub-County and his arch-rival Joseph Toto were contesting for the chairmanship position and managed to garner 10-10 votes during the elections attended by 23 delegates from across the county.
Upiga kura ulianza muda wa saa 3:30 na umeisha vizuri bila vurugu na tumefurahia kuona ati election imefanya vizuri. Unfortunately hatujapata mshindi kwa viti vyote viwili ambapo viti vimeshikaniwa kura 11 kwa 11 na tunasema ambapo uchaguzi utarudiwa. Tungetaka uchaguzi pia ukuwe wa amani na tupate mshindi na ndo mpira wa Nyandarua uweze kuendelea.
Mimi na mwenzangu mimi na tunayeshindana na yeye tukapewa kura ambazo zinatoshana. Bodi ya FKF ya uchaguzi ikaamua siku ya Jumamosi tutakuja hapa ili waamue ni nani ataongoza kama katibu wa soka hapa Nyandarua.
Kenya naweza omba ni waaniaji wa kiti ya chairman na hiyo ofisi. Kitu yenye tunaweza omba sana mwenye atachaguliwa awe na goodwill ya mpira ya Nyandarua, sababu tuko na challenges mingi sana hapa grassroots football. Tujaribu hata kama anaweza tuvutia sponsor moja ama wawili waweze kusponsor hiyo ligi, hata kama ni kulipa ref, na tunaweza shukuru sana.
On today's conundrum, in just a little over 2 years under the Kenya Kwanza administration, a deep sense of unease can be felt across the nation. Citizens, religious leaders, and analysts alike are raising questions about the government's fulfillment of its 2022 election promises and whether its leadership is truly living up to the ideals of a bottom-up economic model. Amidst rising taxes, an ongoing social health insurance crisis, and allegations of abductions and extrajudicial killings, the question on many people's minds is, where is Kenya headed under the leadership of President William Ruto? During the 2022 election campaign, William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza coalition sold a vision of a prosperous, inclusive Kenya, where economic power would shift from the elite to ordinary citizens, particularly the poor. This bottom-up economic model promised to empower Kenyans at the grassroots level by improving access to healthcare, education, and economic opportunities. However, many of these promises are proving to be difficult to fulfill. While the government says it has made strides in addressing issues such as youth employment and infrastructure development, the economic reality for many Kenyans is far from promising. The bottom-up vision seems increasingly disconnected from the everyday lives of the average citizen. Ordinary Kenyans, particularly the poor, are now facing a crushing combination of rising taxes and escalating cost of living. Despite the promises of tax relief and financial empowerment, the administration has increased taxes across various sectors with little to show in terms of tangible benefits for the people. The voice of the church has been loud and clear in its criticism of the government's performance. Recently, the Catholic bishops of Kenya called out the administration for failing to honor its promises, particularly with regard to the cost of living and the social welfare of the Kenyan people. Are the bishops lying? The reality on the ground suggests otherwise. The government's handling of the SHIF rollout and its failure to address the economic challenges faced by ordinary citizens gives credence to the criticisms. The bishops' call for justice, accountability, and responsible governance is not just political rhetoric, but a demand for a government to fulfill the promises made to the people. The church has historically been a voice for the marginalized in the Kenyan society, and its rising criticism of the government points to a larger issue: the growing disconnect between the leadership and the people. The question now is, what will it take for the government to restore trust and address the pressing concerns of its citizens? It is clear that Kenya is at a crossroads. The government must prove that its bottom-up model is not just a slogan, but a reality that can transform the lives of its citizens. This can only happen through concrete action on key issues such as healthcare, tax reform, security, and ending corruption. The next chapter in Kenya's leadership is yet to be written, but the urgency for reform and justice is clearer than ever. And that is today's conundrum. And we have come to the end of Newswatch tonight. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the whole team, we appreciate you. I'm Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Have a good night.